Thursday, everybody. Hey, Owen, good morning, buddy. Yay, we are so excited to be hanging out today. Friends, we're going to get started in a few minutes doing an experiment. If you didn't get a chance to check out a post yesterday, you're going to need a couple supplies as everyone's checking in this morning. Make sure that you have a clear, actually it doesn't have to be clear. Make sure you have a bowl on hand. It can be about this big. It doesn't have to be much bigger than that. Make sure that you have some pepper near you. You're going to need some pepper. You'll just need a couple sprinkles, nothing too crazy. Make sure you have some soap. I know this is in a hot commodity right now too, so you're gonna wanna make sure that you just have a couple dabs of soap. That will do well. And I didn't mention this yesterday, so you wanna give yourself a couple minutes to grab this. You are gonna need some water. So make sure you have some water on hand as well. That's for our experiment. We're gonna start that in a few minutes. Give everybody a chance to check in and say hi. Good morning, everyone. My name's Melissa. I am the children's pastor at Valley Kids. We're so glad you're here hanging out today. What's everybody been doing? Go ahead and write in the comments maybe. What have you been doing this week? How have you been spending your time? Did you do an April Fool's joke yesterday? It was April 1st. Anybody fool their parents yesterday or maybe their siblings for April Fools? Any good jokes out there? Maybe you got joked. Maybe you got a trick played on you. We started potty training our youngest daughter yesterday, so I think that was the joke that we had on us because it's hard to potty train. Ay. Friends, we're about to get started this morning with an experiment talking about how God helps us with our negative thoughts. So we want to have you grab a couple supplies. If you haven't already, make sure you have a bowl on hand. Make sure you have some pepper with you. Make sure you've got some soap. And you're also going to want to make sure you have some water nearby too. If you didn't get a chance to share that you're watching this live video, at the very bottom of your video, there's a little button and you can click share. Go ahead and do that because we really want to share what's happening with tons of different people who are on Facebook and give them a chance to join in too. So that'll be super cool if you can do that. Oh, good. Your kids are super funny, Billy. I love that. That's too funny. We wish that we could see you guys face to face. It would be so fun to be able to do that and engage back and forth one-on-one. Oh, I see that Mia and Cece are watching too. Hey, good morning, Miss Helena, to you as well. Good stuff right there. Fantastic. Friends, we're going to give it just another few minutes for everybody to get together. Nobody played any April Fool's jokes yesterday. I'm really surprised. We wanted to make sure. The only April Fool's joke besides the potty training that went on in my house yesterday was periodically throughout the day we would say, look, Elsa's out the window. April Fools. That's pretty much the extent of what we can do for this point right here, yeah. Again, we're gonna get started with our experiment in about 1 minute. We're talking about negative thoughts this morning and how God can help us with our negative thoughts. So, if you didn't already, you've got a bowl, you've got some pepper, you've got some soap, you've got some water, you've hit the share button at the bottom of your screen, and we're gonna get started right now. So, friends, this morning we are doing on Valley Kids Live Talk About It Thursday. And we thought it would be a great idea for us to talk about how God can help us with our negative feelings sometimes. Because let's be honest, we all can have negative thoughts and negative feelings at times. So, before you try this experiment at home, I'm going to ask, and parents, maybe if you can give a thumbs up by hitting the little icon, if you're hearing, a thumbs up if you let me do the experiment first. That way you can watch and see what I'm doing, and you'll be able to do the experiment at the same or a little bit afterwards too. So watch me first, and then we'll be able to have you show it off to somebody later on. So the first thing, let's talk about our supplies a little bit. Thanks for tracking, people. I appreciate that. First thing is our bowl right here. This bowl, I want you to think of it as your mind. Now, last week I realized that I wrote down these descriptions so that you can see them, but I didn't realize that they would be backwards. Did anybody else see that? Maybe you can give a little ha-ha or a laughing right there, that they would be backwards when you saw them. So I did my ambulance writing this time around. Did you ever notice that on an ambulance, when you read it, it says it backwards so that people see it in their mirror and it looks forwards? So crazy. So I wrote the word mind. I think you can read it this time. And I taped it on the front of the bowl because this bowl represents our mind. Now, did you know that our minds are full 75% of water? So, in order to show us that, we are going to put a little bit of water inside of our mind. We're going to fill up our mind with water since our brains are 75% full of water. And then we're ready for our next ingredient. Thumbs up if you're tracking along so far. You've got your mind set up and you're ready for the next step. Negative thoughts. What do you think the negative thoughts might be in this experiment? The dish soap or the pepper? Any thoughts on what you think our negative thoughts might be? The dish soap or the pepper? It's the pepper. In this experiment, the pepper represents negative thoughts that we might have. So in order to show you that, I did a little piece of tape and I did a little sad face because sometimes our negative thoughts can make us feel sad. So let's talk about negative thoughts. Negative thoughts could be things like, I feel sad about how my brother or sister treated me earlier in the day. So I'm going to pour a little bit of negative thoughts right there. I have some pepper floating around in my water. Another negative thought might be, I'm so bored with staying at home right now, and I really just wish I could go and see my friends. That could be a negative thought. So I'm going to pour some pepper. It's filling up my mind. Maybe a negative thought that you might have is, Mom, stop bothering me to clean up my room and the toys. I just don't feel like doing it right now. That could be a negative thought. My mind is filling with these negative thoughts. Let's be honest. You might have a negative thought right now about, gosh, when is this ever going to end? When can I do things like I normally did before? So I'm going to pour my negative thoughts in my mind. Okay, now, if you look inside of my bowl, you might notice that it's full of pepper. All over the bowl, there are tons of negative thoughts. There's pepper all over the top. I don't want my mind to be full of negative thoughts. If my mind is full of negative thoughts all the time, I'm going to feel sad or anxious or upset. So I need to solve that somehow. That's where God comes in. God is our soap. So take my piece of tape, label that God. Thumbs up, you can see it the right way this time. We need to train our minds to be full of the right types of thoughts. The more that we can have God get in our mind by listening to songs that we hear from church, or reading our Bible, or doing our God time cards with our parents, watching our Valley Kids lessons online, even if we're not going to church, the more that we fill our minds with God, the better He's gonna help us manage our negative thoughts. Now, this is super cool. Notice that the negative thoughts are all over our mind right now. We're gonna open up the soap. Joe, you totally got this one. You are right. The soap is God. And we are very carefully going to pour the soap, God, right in the center of our mind. Now, this happens quick, so you have to make sure you're paying attention, because what happens when we put God at the center of our mind, what happens to our negative thoughts is super cool, but super fast. Are you ready for it? 3, 2, maybe we should just talk about a couple things, like have a good conversation. Okay, I'm just kidding. We'll go for it. Ready? I'm pouring the soap into the bowl slowly. 3, 2, oh, I I'm totally just keeping you on edge here. Hopefully this is making you giggle a little bit. All right, I'm ready for it. Watch what happens to the pepper and our negative thoughts when the soap hits the middle. Take it over, drop it in, boom. Did you see that? The pepper spread to the outside of the bowl. Now, inside of the middle of my mind are thoughts that are true, thoughts that are noble, thoughts that are pure, thoughts that are made up of what God is. So take a look, if you can, at my bowl. All of the pepper is on the edge of my mind. Let's be real. Those thoughts are still there. Just like we talked about our fears last week, they're still gonna be there because we're human. We have negative thoughts. But when we put God at the center of our thoughts, we can help push those negative thoughts away and replace them with the truth that God tells us. Okay, Melissa, stop talking. It's your turn to do this. So let's go ahead and give you a chance to do it at home. Take a bowl. Remember, your bowl represents your mind. Fill your bowl up with water because 75% of your mind, of your brain, is full of water. Now, take some pepper. And maybe right now, have a conversation with your parent or your sibling about some of the negative thoughts that you might have. Maybe you can be silly with them and say, yeah, I really didn't like when you pushed me yesterday or when we argued. Maybe it can be a negative thought like, oh, I'm just so bored of what's happening right now and I really just wish we could go to a friend's house. Maybe it's a negative thought like, if I really had to admit it, I'm really not sure how I'm feeling about what's happening. That's a negative thought. And fill up your bowl with pepper to show the negative thoughts that might be in your mind. Okay, here's the cool part. Take your soap. Your soap represents God, remember? And remind yourself of the ways that you can fill yourself up with God. Reading your Bible, doing your God time card, listening to songs from church, praying and talking to God. And remember that God's your superpower. When you put him at the center of your negative thoughts, boom, they're gonna go to the side. Give it a try. Ready? Put God right in the center of your mind and whoosh, all of the pepper goes to the edge. Pretty cool stuff, right? Friends, here's your challenge for your Talk About It Thursday. Can you show this experiment to a friend of yours? Or maybe FaceTime a grandparent or maybe an aunt or an uncle, or maybe on Zoom, like if you get on a Zoom group with a bunch of friends, show them this experiment. All you're gonna need is a bowl, water, pepper, soap. Tell them what each item means, and then parents, if you can snap a photo or a video of your children or your child teaching someone else about this lesson, can you share it with us? Tag it on CCV Valley Kids, put it on Instagram or Facebook, because here's the truth. We want to spread the good news and encouragement and truth that people really need to hear right now. And the best way we can do that is by having people like you kids, share that with other people too. So we'll be looking out for those photos and those videos today. Friends, it was so much fun hanging out with you today on Talk About It Thursday. Remember, God, when you put him at the center, your negative thoughts can be managed. God is bigger and more pure and more true than any of these. Friends, if you had a fun time today hanging out on VK Live, you can catch the replay of this, other experiments, and other VK Lives at our YouTube channel on CCV Valley Kids. Subscribe to CCV Valley Kids on all platforms. We have so much fun every day. And parents, if you're looking for more ways to have conversations with your kids about this, we'll be having a town hall meeting on Zoom tonight at 7 p.m. You can find the links in our bios or on Facebook. Join us live at 7 p.m. We want to talk to you about what your family needs right now. How can we have conversations with our kids about what's happening? And really any questions that we can answer, we want to let you know that we're here for you. So subscribe, follow, share, and join us tomorrow on Valley Kids Live. We have a Feature Friday guest. I'll give you some hints about our guest. He is a teacher. He always has something up his sleeve. And if you're in K3, you know him as Mr. Alex. Our 4 or 5 kids might know him too. Mr. Alex is joining us tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, he has an experiment that's way cooler than this. It's gonna blow your mind. So friends, we'll see you then. Have a great rest of your day and make sure to share those videos so that we can share them with everybody else too.